Well, here's the Bessemer engine in its new home. This is going to be kind of a quick introductory video. I'll really start getting into this engine more after I finish up the General Supply air compressor. But Beans Road King put up that video of during the day that I actually picked up the engine. I figured I'd follow it up with a little bit more information on it. Well, it's an 8 to 10 horsepower engine made by the Bessemer company in Grove City, Pennsylvania. It is a 2-stroke engine. This particular one has a high tension ignition, spark plug there, and magneto, high tension magneto right there. They made them in battery ignition also, high tension battery ignition in this size. This is a natural gas fueled engine. Its original application, what this particular one came off of, is unknown. Could have been a engine on a small oil rig. Could have been an engine on a farm. But chances are it wasn't, what we would call a portable engine. It was a stationary engine. Being natural gas, you don't. Back in those days, you didn't have a tank of natural gas, compressed natural gas that you carried around with you. So, I have some of the parts sitting on there that you didn't see in the previous video that Road King put up. But it's in rough shape. Go over a few of them. This right here is the natural gas mixer. The air intake here. This lever right here is controlled by the governor. It pulls up and down on a valve similar to an intake or exhaust valve in the head of an engine, similar shape at least, which as the lever moves down, it opens the valve more, so that increases your speed. There's a mixture needle here, or what's left of one, and of course the inlet for the fuel, for the gas. There would be a governor adjustment screw here. It's a flyweight governor on the flywheel. A single weight right here. Spring loaded, the typical thing. So. But that's all just loose and dangling now. Not quite sure how the whole thing operates. This is kind of interesting here. Not sure how that moves. You can see there's a pin right there, and there probably would have been a brass block that rode in this channel here. All things that have to be made. Of course, the magneto, which I believe is a Bosch. I'm not exactly sure. It looks like Bosch. I have the rest of the parts for it over inside, but that's in rough shape. I'll have to do some work on that. Looks like it might have some kind of timing advancement or timing retardation set up here. Not exactly sure. All these things have to be figured out. At this point, the status of the engine internally, the crankshaft is stuck in the mains. So I've got some penetrating oil sitting on that, and I've been applying a little bit of heat every night just to help it work its way in there. But I believe the crankshaft is straight, it's not bent. There's really not a whole lot of shaft on the end for something to grab unless it actually fell over on its flywheels for it to bend. But like you saw in the video, the pulley mounts here, bolt to the flywheel. Let's see. It's a tank-cooled engine. There's a water outlet here, and water inlet is over here at the back. Now, I'll show you in a little bit what this here is for. But we'll go back and take a look at the cylinder. The cylinder is where the problem really is for this engine. I think you can see that. Two really bad cracks. Let's see if I move over here. There you go. From the rim of the cylinder, running right down to about halfway down the stroke and over and up. The cylinder is just destroyed up here, as you can see. Down farther where the piston was is not that bad. Well, it's bad, but at least it resembles a cylinder instead of just a rusty pipe. Of course, these things have to be bored and sleeved. There's no saving this at all. So, the total length of the cylinder is 16 inches. It's a 5-inch bore. The stroke, I think, is about 6 inches. 6 or 7 inches. But, that's that. But the piston has its own set of problems. First, foremost, well, the pitting is obvious, but there's a little hole right here, right in the crown, just from rust. That could be welded up though. This can all be easily repaired, built up with weld, a little bit at a time. Really, not that bad. Top of the piston really not that important, just as long as it doesn't collapse while it's running. Piston overall, I cleaned it up a little bit today at work. The rings are all still stuck, but I got most of the gunk off of it. You can see some carbon still sitting on there that I couldn't get off. I'm gonna have to work at that with a razor knife. But you see the pitting right here and here and here where it's had exposed to the intake ports. Pitted that. Go around where it's had exposed to the exhaust ports. It's very badly pitted. But that again, that can be built up and trued and lathed. So, see, we have 3 upper compression rings. 1, 2, 3, and then a lower compression ring. Well, I shouldn't say that. That ring down there is probably just to maintain the crankcase pressure. So that's the piston. Rod's in nice shape. Interestingly enough, this bronze bearing is perfect right here. This is a wrist pin. Fits there. Very nice and snug. Beefy wrist pin. I think it's like 1 1/16", 1 1/8" diameter. With a there's a locking screw that goes up through the piston that holds it in place through there. Nice beefy rod. So, nothing wrong with that. The Babbitt inserts are in very good condition for the rod bearing. Which I suspect that the crank mains, if they're Babbitt, I'm not sure what they are. If they're just a bronze bushing, or if they're Babbitt. But they'll probably be alright. A little bit of patience and this thing will be fine. I'm really at this point, I'm not even planning on pulling the flywheels. Just getting the engine spinning. And make sure the mains are well oiled and clean. And then this is for the exhaust here. Exhaust port in the head, and then there would have been I think it's like 1.5 inch or a 2-inch pipe thread here, which would have come up to a stack for a muffler. I'll have to have this recast. Luckily, this one, it's 75% there, and can make the rest of it up. Well, Dirt Bike 5100's dad was kind enough to provide me with this reprint manual that he acquired while in possession of this engine. It's the engine you have waited for. It's the pinnacle of perfection, the Bessemer. So, very good, informative manual, or manual brochure, whatever you'd like to call it. Really interesting reading, you know, from the period. There's a nice cross-section view. They go into explanation. Some neat parts like this here. Why the 2-cycle principle of engine construction is superior to the 4-cycle. Here they have a little comparison of a 6 horsepower 2-cycle Bessemer engine weighing 475 pounds. Note simplicity. Compared to the 6 horsepower 4-cycle engine, weight 1,750 pounds. Note complication. I guess that's what they considered complicated back then. Pretty funny. But then they go into this special Bessemer carburation system. That's if you're running a liquid fuel. I'd like to find one of these, but that's probably going to be impossible. I might try to make one. That's what mounts right here. If you were running liquid fuel, like kerosene or gasoline, this engine would just have a blanking plate right over those 2 ports there, just bolted here and here. But very nice cross section if I ever want to decide to attempt to build one. I got customer reviews, dated 1915. Another one from 1915. But just a nice manual. Why the Bessemer is a 2-port engine. Explanations of the differences there. Speed regulation of the Bessemer kerosene engine is superior. Pretty neat. Why the engine is a slow-speed engine. The 3 moving parts. Note perfect balance. Well, that's the best place to do this. There's a picture of one on a winch, a hoist. Pretty neat. And you see the Bessemer crew right here. Here's one on a generating set. It's pretty neat. There's a cooling tank. Here's a direct couple generating set. But wouldn't that be nice to have? Anyway, I think I'm going to use this engine to power that DC generator that I made a video of a while ago. There's a nice picture of a skid-mounted unit. I guess. I guess some of them had water pumps for cooling. I think this one just uses a thermosiphon system. Clutch pulleys, didn't get one of those. That would have been nice. We're operating on natural gas or artificial gas. This section pertains to me. Boy, that'd be a heavy cart. Hand trucks. For the 8-horse engine would be $16. Get a nice truck like that. But pretty neat. That's a good thing to have. The last thing I have to show you is a photograph of a let's see, I lost it. Sorry about that. Here's a picture of a complete engine. This engine is in Texas. that there is the liquid fuel mixer carburetor, Bessemer special thing. Let's see, that will be mounted right here on my engine. So, pretty interesting. But this is a nice picture. Gives you a lot of detail on the moving parts. Oiler, I've got that. Didn't show that, but I have one. I don't know if it's original, but it'll work, and it looks original. So, yeah, this is a big project, and there'll certainly be more videos to come. But this is just an introduction.